Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series is something that I never thought I'd see a revival of. Sure, for someone like me, the series was fun to play during lunch breaks at school, but I never really heard many people talking about it. Well, regardless of what I thought, Spike Chunsoft is back with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. Little has changed since my days in high school, as this is still the same comfort food it was almost 15 years ago. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX begins with the player, a human, being turned into a Pokemon. The choice of which Pokemon is decided by a series of questions, but it's also possible to just choose whichever one you want out of 16 possible choices. Players can also choose their partner Pokemon, who will wake you up and offer to guide you through the world. Without much time to think about your current situation, a Pokemon is in need of your help. Descending through a dungeon and finding the Pokemon will encourage your partner to offer you a chance to put together a rescue team. As a team, you are given missions to help other Pokemon in need. Strangely, most of these missions are just random Pokemon who seem to get lost deep inside of dungeons that they probably shouldn't have been in the first place. The story becomes a bit chaotic as you figure out more about the state of the Pokemon world and try to restore peace. Aside from taking on normal missions, story missions will lead you to reveal new areas as well as ways that you can be restored to your human self. The story takes itself rather seriously in a playful sort of way. This creates a nice balance of narrative and mechanics which can be appealing for gamers of any age. At its core, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is a roguelike dungeon crawler RPG. In order for someone to even remotely enjoy what this title has to offer, they'll need to enjoy the genre. Missions are accepted from a bulletin board and are generally not story-based and only require players to enter dungeons and rescue Pokemon in need. If it sounds repetitive, well, you're not wrong, but there are a few ways that the game makes it work. For one, fighting Pokemon leads to the option to add them to your team. However, in order to add a Pokemon to your team, you'll need to have a specific camp purchased, which means you'll need money, and that brings us right back to completing these missions, which provides you with funds and items. It's a gameplay loop that effectively works in the long run because you always have some goal or another that brings you to these dungeons. Also, completing missions raises your rescue team's score, which unlocks more items to hold and additional bonuses. The game encourages the player to visit dungeons multiple times and rewards them during each visit. Oftentimes, powerful enemies will also be roaming around the map who yields better items. Story missions generally unlock new dungeons, but they also progress the game's unique narrative. A lot happens on this adventure, which makes it strange to be so invested in a story where Alakazam and Charizard hang out together and Gengar is always getting into trouble. This is paralleled with a brand new visual design for the game where everything comes across like it's right out of a storybook. I appreciated the visual upgrade and how it made the adventure feel new at times. Outside of missions, players are able to explore the town and speak with Pokemon that they've helped. It's possible to store and purchase items, deposit money, and train your Pokemon using tickets to power level them up. Outside of that, players are able to do some things with their rescue team base, but nothing really changes the core gameplay. Furthermore, there is an online feature where players can request the help of others if they die in a dungeon. Dying is pretty harsh as you lose your items and money, but there are options here to recover your lost goods. If the online feature isn't something that you're interested in, or someone's not helping you quick enough, you could always have your B rescue team head out and save you. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon has some added accessibility options as well. Players can put their game in auto mode and allow the Pokemon to make a beeline to items, Pokemon in need, close enemies, or the exit. It works surprisingly well. Also, attacks don't have to be chosen by the player. Instead, the best attacks for situations are automatically used with the press of the A button. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon focuses on making its gameplay more accessible to players of all ages. The easier options and slower scale of difficulty make this apparent. I ended up liking this version more than the original, if only because I died a lot less and found the progression to be easier to wrap my head around. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX is still the comfort food dungeon crawling RPG you remember while playing the DS version. The added systems change its core audience to include players of all ages, which makes it the perfect starter dungeon crawler for anyone. Every moment of gameplay is met with a reward, and the game loop creates a substantial reason to return to dungeons countless times and across dozens of missions. While the remake doesn't do too much in terms of changing the core formula of what the series is, there's enough here to warrant an additional playthrough. Noisy Pixel is giving Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.